كما الصلاح.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. استقيموا واعتدلوا. Stay in the line, please, and turn off all cell phones. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا. إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا. إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسلا وأغلالا وسعيرا. إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا. عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا. يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيلا. ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيلا. إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا. فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا. وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا. متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا. ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا. ويطوف عليهم بآنية من فضة ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قواريرا من فضة قدروها تقديرا. ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتهم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر واستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا واذكر اسم ربك وتبتل إليه واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما الله سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We recited from a qira'ah from Medina, and this is the qira'ah of Imam al-Nafi', the qira'ah of Imam al-Nafi' bi-riwayah, the reading of Imam al-Warsh, rahimahullah ta'ala. Why I bring that up is because the companion radiallahu anhu that we're going to speak about, a lot of the story is placed in Medina. So we want to take ourselves into that time, and I want us to really thoroughly examine the situation. We mentioned it in the Fajr Khatira that we're going to speak about a certain subject, and that is the fitna that came upon the ummah at the time of the companions radiallahu anhum. This fitna was the fitna of that occurred around the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu. But we backtrack first and we understand who is Uthman radiallahu anhu. Dhun Nurayn. He had a famous nickname, and he is the only one in this ummah that has this distinction. He was someone that was known for his humility. He was someone that was known for his haya. He was someone that was beloved to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the successor to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He is Dhun Nurayn, the distinction that puts him above everyone that you can mention after him. He was the one companion radiallahu anhu that married two of the daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The only one to marry two of the daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And why we're talking about Uthman radiallahu anhu is really to focus on the spread of the fitna. But we need to bring context to it. Uthman radiallahu anhu, during his khilafah, the virtues of Uthman are far by none. He was someone that was known for everything. In terms of his sadaqah, in terms of his reading of the Quran, he is someone that is beloved to all of the Muslimin. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us from amongst those who get to see him, inshaAllah. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to be in the companionship of the companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, before he passed away, there were multiple ahadith narrated foreshadowing the fitna, telling everyone that there will be a time. And Ubay ibn al-Ka'ab radiallahu anhu was the one that narrated it. He said that there was a man walking by shrouded in clothing, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there will be a time upon our ummah where there will be a fitna, there will be this situation that all of you will go through, and you will turn on each other and you will begin to be at each other's throats. You'll be fighting one another and deceiving and lying amongst one another. And he saw him sallallahu alaihi wasallam passing by, and he said, be on the side of that person, be on the side of that person, be on the side of that person. And they asked him, Ya Rasulullah, that person? So then Uthman radiallahu anhu uncovered himself to get ready to pray. And he said, him? And he said, yes, him. Another narration, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to him, and Aisha radiallahu anha is the one that narrated it. He said to him, radiallahu anhu, go, that there will be a time when Allah Azza wa Jal, perhaps Allah Azza wa Jal, will give you a cloth. He will give you a cloth, and the munafiqeen will want you to take off that cloth. When that time comes, do not take it off. That you will be given a qamis, and there will be a time when they will pressure you and they will tell you, do not take it off. Or they will tell you to take it off. Do not take it off until you meet me. Subhanallah. Another one. Umar, Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman radiallahu anhum are on Mount Uhud with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the mountain begins to shake, and it trembles to an extent under their feet, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Ya Uhud, calm yourself, because on top of you is a Nabi and a Sadiq and a Shahadain." That these are two shuhada, Umar and Uthman radiallahu anhuma. Now, Uthman radiallahu anhu, he's the first in the ummah, or one of the first, but this was the assassination, correct? So he is the first Khalifa to be killed by people that also are saying La ilaha illallah. Remember Umar ibn al-Khattab, he was killed, but it was by someone that was a fire worshipper. Uthman radiallahu anhu was the first one to be killed, and they are also claiming to be Muslims, and they're doing it out of piety, quote unquote. So how does that even happen? How do we get to that point? During his khilafah, his first 10 years, there was relatively no issues. But they wanted him to resign during his khilafah. They felt that he was favoring his family members or his distant relatives a lot, and that he was very lenient on certain accords. And they did not agree with some of the policies. These are newer people. These are not the companions radiallahu anhum that are complaining about him, but rather it is the generation, the youngsters, or the new ones that are coming into Islam, and they aren't happy with how the political situation is under his khilafah. And they began to spread rumors amongst one another. And in the Sahih, or actually it might not be in the Sahih, but Imam al-Bukhari, as he's written more than just the Sahih, he's written multiple books. He narrated that at the time of Hajj, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, he's sitting down, and Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, he is one of the muftis of the companions. He's one of the strongest faqih of the companions, and a lot of the fiqh that all of us follow, it will be going through him. Especially if you're in the Shafi or Maliki or Hanbali madhab, it is all, majority of it going through that chain. He, at the time of Hajj, he sits down in a majlis, and he has the companions and the other tabi'een and the tabi'een, they all are coming there asking him questions. This is the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab. And at Hajj time specifically, when there's so much fiqh that you need to know, when do you do this, when do you do that, what is this allowed, is this not allowed, you need to have the fiqh. So he's there teaching the people in the haram, radiallahu anhuma. And a man comes from Misr, from Egypt, and he says to one of his companions or someone around him, he says, "Who is that old man that's teaching? Who is that old man teaching?" Subhanallah, this is a generation after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is already starting. That they don't know who these companions are. And they are also disrespectful in how they're saying it, right? He says to him, "That's Abdullah ibn Umar." So he's like, that's Abdullah ibn Umar, let me go to him. He asked him, Ya Abdullah, don't you know? I have 3 questions for you. I have a few questions about Uthman. Did you know that he left Uhud? Did you know that Uthman left Uhud? And Abdullah ibn Umar said yes. He left Uhud, he retreated. Number 2, he came to him and he said, did you know that Uthman radiallahu anhu was not in Badr? He didn't attend Badr? Okay. He said yes, he didn't attend Badr. Did you know that he wasn't in Bay'at al-Ridwan? Did you know that he wasn't in that pledge under the tree? Did you know that? And Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, he says, yes, I know. And this man's shocked. He's like, how are you like supporting Uthman? How are you doing this for Uthman? He's saying, Allahu Akbar, subhanallah, what are you doing? And then he calls the man back. He says, come here. Do you know what you're asking me? You asked me yes or no questions. I answered with yes. But you don't know the context. Let me tell you. And he tells him, at the day of Badr, we'll go chronologically in history. At the day of Badr, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Uthman radiallahu anhu wanted to go for Badr. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him, don't go. Why? To take care of Ruqayya radiallahu anha, his daughter who was on her deathbed. And that's why there's a name for Badr, that it is Yawm al-Furqan, of course, but it is also a day of grief, a day of huzn and grief. It was a day of joy and grief. They beat the mushrikeen, but on the same day was when Ruqayya radiallahu anha passed away. And Uthman radiallahu anhu was counted, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam counted him from amongst the Badriyun because his niyyah, his ikhlasun niyyah, he wanted to go. And he had an excuse why he couldn't go. Number 2. Now we're going to Uhud. Allah is the one that has already forgiven all of those who left. All of those who have fled early in Uhud, those who left the side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah has forgiven them. So who are you? What are you to say that you're not okay with Uthman leaving? Allah is okay with it. And Allah has already revealed ayat in Surah Al-Imran talking about that. Now number 3, Bay'atul Ridwan. This is when the companions and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made intention for Hajj. And this is something that's familiar to everyone, that they tried to go for Umrah. They made intention for Umrah. They tried to go for Umrah and they were stopped by Quraysh. Same exact situation. That same situation, they sent delegates to Mecca to talk to Quraysh. And Uthman radiallahu anhu was one of them. And guess what? They started, a few days went by and they started to fear that he was killed by the Quraysh. So they sat under the tree and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to them, come to me, we're going to take revenge for our brother who has been killed. Who's that brother? Uthman radiallahu anhu. We're going to take revenge for him. So everyone come here and take my hand, one by one, each companion. And Allah Azza wa Jalla made mention of them and said that those are the ones that will be in Jannah. And at the end of that, what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? He took his hand and he took his other hand and he said, this is for Uthman. Subhanallah. But look at how when you bend the truth, you say half of what is the truth. Because yes, he did not attend Badr. Yes, he left Uhud. Yes, he was not in the pact of the Bay'atul Ridwan. You don't tell the entire truth, look what happens. How easy it is to make a rumor and falsely accuse someone. And that was at a time before social media, before a website, before a phone that you could have internet access to. So look at our condition now. This is something that happened to the companions radiallahu anhum, so much so that Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, the son of Abu Bakr, who was an infant when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu passed away, whose side do you think he was on? He was saying get rid of Uthman. He was saying let's kill him. And it was only until he stormed inside the house of Uthman radiallahu anhu and he grabbed him by his beard and he said that and then Uthman radiallahu anhu said to him, Ya Ibn Siddiq, let go of my beard, because your father would honor this beard. Your father used to honor this beard. And that's when even him, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, rahimahullah, because he repented after that. But look at the condition, how easy it is to influence people, how easy shaitan can pin you and I against one another. And it happened at the time of people who were much greater than us. And we're going to his death now, and we'll conclude it with this. But let's talk about his virtues, radiallahu anhu. That they said about him, and there's fada'il, there's books just about his virtue, radiallahu anhu. That he used to stand in night, and they said, يُحْيِي اللَّيْلَ بِالْقُرْآنِ فِي الرَّكَةِ في الركعة. On one rak'ah, he would use to revive the entire Quran, meaning he would recite from Fatiha ila Nas the entire night in one rak'ah. That they said that he every day used to read the Quran twice. It was with his hand that the script that you were reading with, it was written with. That same Uthmani script, subhanallah. How many times he taught the Quran The wudu that you do, the hadith for it, it is narrated through Uthman radiallahu anhu. Subhanallah. Imagine the virtue that he has, that every single person that picks up the mushaf, they get his scale is being increased because you're reading from the Quran. What about when you go to Medina and you pray in Masjid al-Nabwi? Who was the one that purchased the land? Who was the one that expanded it? It was Uthman radiallahu anhu. What about the water in Medina? The bi'r, the well that he purchased? It was Uthman radiallahu anhu. When you drink the water in Medina, when you pray in Masjid al-Nabwi, when you read from the Quran, guess whose scale it's going on to? And subhanallah, look at that lesson of sadaqah jariyah. May Allah Azza wa Jalla allow us all to establish something before we leave. His sadaqah jariyah is going to right now, to you today. And when he's passing away, he had a dream and he narrated to his wife, or one of his wives. They put a siege on his house, and this was a siege for multiple weeks or days or weeks, and they were throwing rocks into the windows. They were trying to set it on fire, radiallahu anhu. And this is so important for us to learn about this history. He is in this state where he can't even pray in the masjid of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They prevented him from everything. So he goes to sleep, and it's on a Thursday, and he's at the age of 83, radiallahu anhu. And he goes to sleep, and he wakes up, and in his dream he sees Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says to him, Ya Uthman, did they prevent you from drinking and eating? Na'am ya Rasulullah. Ya Uthman, did they prevent you from praying in my masjid? Na'am ya Rasulullah. Ya Uthman, did they prevent you from leaving your house? Na'am ya Rasulullah. And he's fasting, and as it's the sunnah to fast on Thursdays. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, tonight you will open your fast with me, Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anhuma. And then right after that, he wakes up, he tells his house about the dream, and then the siege comes in and they break in, and he's reading Quran, he's reading from Surah Al-Baqarah, and while he's reading he gets killed, and the blood smears onto it. The last words that he said, does anyone know it? فَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمُ اللَّهِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla is sufficient. For you, Allah Azza wa Jalla is sufficient. Subhanallah. There's so many virtues that you can take from a story. But the most important thing that we need to focus on is remembering that how quickly rumors can spread within in our society. And that's why the hadith or the dua that is famous is Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna at-taba'a wa arina al-batila batilan warzuqna ijtinaba. That, oh Allah, allow me to see the truth as truth, and then allow me to follow it, and allow me to see falsehood as falsehood, and allow me to stay away from it. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept that dua for all of us. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to elevate Uthman radiallahu anhu and to allow us to be amongst those who get to see him, and Abu Bakr and Umar and Ali and all of the companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum. And we ask Allah Jalla Jalla to grant us all al-firdaus al-a'la. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik nashhadu wa la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun al mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Jazakumullahu khair wa assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.